right now, the light is really coming very much from the side here. We measured it, so you know we were like 2 feet and 9 feet. We did that whole thing. I don't want to revisit it right now. But the light has much further to travel as it bounces here, back to her. So it's going to be very sidey. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to now take you, and we'll do a little what is this? Snap, thank you. A snap, and I'm going to show you the concept of a tunnel. But before I do, I want you to think about what's happening here. This light is bouncing into here, and we're creating what I showed you inside this modifier, an area of sort of chaotic light bouncing back and forth, creating the conditions that we have in the shade under that tree, where we're not having that direct light, or if we do have a direction that the light is coming from, we don't have, it's not so hard because we're also filling in from other places, like the light bouncing off the ground or bouncing off the walls when we're outside. As I bring this further away from my model, I want you to see, Magnus, grab the other side of this. So no one's going to move, the model's going to stay exactly where we are. The direction of this is going to stay exactly where it is. All I'm going to do is I'm going to move this light further away from my model. Two things are happening here. Obviously, the light is further away. Okay, that's in the same place. The light is further away, so it's probably going to lose some power, so it'll feel darker. And something else is going to happen. It's going to feel less contrasty, and I'll explain why in a second. Lovely. Good. I'm going to, we've lost some power. Let's turn it up by like half a stop. Lovely. You don't need to worry about stops. You just need to turn it up if it's too dark. You see how it starts to be much more of an even spread? Let me compare that to an image from earlier. This image on the left here, much more sidey. And as we move both of these further away, it starts to get much more even on both sides. Why is that? Let's do it a little bit more just to accentuate the effect. Come this way, perfect, good. And take the picture again. We'll probably need to turn up the power a little bit more. Yeah, go for it. So I've got all 3 images on the screen. There we go. It even starts to come more from the left side. So what's happening here is we have the effect of the tunnel. What I'm going to show you now is the effect of that tunnel. I've built a tunnel of V-flats here, or a hallway, to demonstrate a little concept about how the light starts to even out as you move the bounce and the one light further away from the subject. So I'll show you that right now. So if I step directly into the hard light, you can see how hard it is on my face. But watch what happens. It flips to the other side. As I move back, and it's no longer on my face, I can't see that at all anymore. Most of the light is now hitting me from this side of my face. But as I move back, we're going to turn up the power of that light so more of it comes to light me. I can see in my field of view that the light, as it's bouncing back and forth, it actually starts to even out. And you can see on my face that the light is actually not really coming from one defined place. So as I move, and we're going to turn the light down again as I get closer to the camera, because otherwise it's going to look really garish. As I move the light and the bounce surface further away from the subject, yes, it'll be like this, right? Without turning the light up, it'll get darker. But if you adjust for that, you actually start to have the effect where it's coming more from the front than from the side. So by bringing it closer to the subject, it gets more sidey. By bringing it further away from the subject, it gets more flat and a fill in the front. So that's another thing you can just slide in and out. And I'll show you it just one more time. Here I am with the light hitting my face directly. That's a very hard light source. I'm going to cut it on this side. So now I can no longer see it directly, and it's bouncing from here, lighting up this side of my face. And as I go back and we turn that power up commensurately, it starts to be a really, really soft, bounced back and forth light. So I just wanted you to see that effect, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more and how it affects us when doing one light setups with the bounce surface and one light on the other side. It's a kind of a neat way to get that more even fill. All right, so what we've created here is sort of a tunnel. As the light has traveled, as I showed you, down the tunnel, it ends up evening out by the time it gets to our subject. So as we move this further away, it starts to be a more even base layer. We'll get back to this. Just remember that. Put a little pin in this little concept. So I'm going to snap my hand again, and we're going to show you this same setup from the angle of where the model is so you can really see it. So here we are. You're seeing this now from the perspective of the model or the subject. We're fairly far away from the subject. What's happening now is the light is bouncing off of this into this and kind of back and forth and creating like a box of light that's coming at you as the subject. If we move this closer to you, which I'll do now, what happens is, because this is now a little bit closer to the subject, more of this light is directly hitting you and bouncing a little bit is off of this. As we move this further away, this, okay, I'll show you by measuring it. This is going to be a really beautiful visual. From the camera right now to the modifier, it was about 4 feet. From the modifier to the bounce surface is 4 feet, and then another 4 feet. So the distance from this to you and from this to you, it's half than it is here. So you can imagine, because the light has further to travel, you lose some of it by the time it gets to you. As we move this further away, let's do that. As we move this further away, the distance from here to the camera is 7 feet, which it also is from the other side, and 4 feet, 3.5 feet here. So instead of being, it's 7 foot from here to the camera, 10 foot from here to there. So the difference between those two isn't as great. So you get much less of a contrasty thing. If we get further away, provided you turn the power up on this, you end up with the difference between what's coming from either side is much, much less. And it's kind of like a dial of directionality. You can dial in your contrast by going closer and having the light really hitting you from this side and the bounce filling in, or the light and the bounce kind of evening out as you end up going down that tunnel that we're kind of imagining. So it's something that's a little hard to wrap your head around until you try it. So I would say, go to your studio, try this. You'll see it starts to even out. The light starts to come more directly from the front of your subject as you build this kind of longer tunnel idea. So let's go back to the other angle. So now that we've gone through that, there's one other thing I want to show you, which is really neat shooting in one light. I've shown you how you can move the light closer, further, use your bounce surface, feather, bounce. We've softened out the light in there by, we've got our diffusion layer on there, and we've brought the light across the model to bring more light into the face. It's important for something I'm going to show you later in this class, but just keep that in mind. The other thing I can do here, which is a really neat little trick, is I've been shooting her directly straight on, which it's a beautiful shot, actually. We found the perfect light here by mistake. Yeah, lovely. But honestly, that's what happens. That's like how it goes. You're playing around, things move, maybe someone trips on a light and they move it, and you take a test shot and you're like, oh, that's actually perfect. Lighting is simple when you let go of the idea of it having to be perfect every time you try something. The best way to figure out lighting is to make a change, test it. Make a change, test it. I'm trying to set you up so you can go into the studio and experiment with the modifiers that you have. So I've been taking this very straight on. What I can do is if I start to move myself as the camera more with, and you can bring your chin directly to me, Regan, with, or, that's really nice and straight on, away from my main light source here, I can get a completely different feeling in my light. The straight on is much more even and balanced. As I go and come with the modifier, like I'm using almost the direct modifier, it has a more commercial look. And then as I come to the other side, it almost feels like it's a little bit backlit. We could accentuate that even more. Regan, just right here. Lovely. That's also kind of a nice thing because we're mostly getting on her face, only that bounced light that we separated out earlier. And from behind, like from this side, we're getting most of the light from the modifier. So there's a lot you can do if you just remember to move in three-dimensional space. Both move your feet, try shooting from different places. So, my real wish for you is you take this into the studio with another photographer, take what you have. If your light is not bright enough, turn it up. If your light is too bright, turn it down. Do test shots. Start at 200th of a second on the shutter speed, 200 ISO, 5.6. Do your ambient light test. Do I have any light getting into my frame? No, that's a completely blacked out frame. Feather your light. Don't point it directly at the person. Add a V-flat or any light color. It doesn't even have to be white. It could just be like gray, not dark, light on the other side. And you can have this little box that's shining light at her, and it's infinitely interesting. I also want to point out, we have shadow control here. Our shadows, she's wearing a black garment, and I'll show you here I'll do another shot, just one more. Thank you, Regan. If I open up my adjustments here in Capture One, I have all the detail in my shadows because the bounce surface is bringing my shadows back and I have control over the shadows. That's what makes it look like it's not shot in the studio. So to wrap this segment up, I think I've walked you through sort of everything you need to know to get started. I want to just point out, most of the time if people have trouble with this, they need to bring the V-flat in a little bit closer. The modifier could be fairly close. You are making a small space. This is a small space. We are not using a giant studio. I could do this even when I lived in England and the rooms were much smaller than now where I am in the US. Although I live in New York, it's not like we have oodles of space either. I'm not in a giant space. If I have a white wall here, I'm using 7 feet of space. This maybe has to come down a little bit. No, this is an 8-foot ceiling. That's a standard ceiling height. We are in a space that's actually not that big. You can make beautiful work just like that. So let's actually shoot this. Okay, Regan, now we can do some movement. So I wonder if you bring a leg up on, yeah, exactly. You can do anything now. Perfect. We have a little world here that works really well. So as I move over here, I can get more front light. As I move over here, I can turn your shoulders to me a little bit. Yeah, more backlight. Perfect. How does that look? That's beautiful. Very, very simple light. Give me direct on. Bring your shoulders to me a little bit. Yeah, I wonder if we could, while you were sitting there, the way you were, we had your face directly at me, if we could just bring in shape by leaning on one side. Exactly. That's really great. Perfect, and let's move the other hand. Yes, exactly. Yes, I love this. It's really beautiful and strong. And look at just the highlight coming through the back on that backdrop. That just happens to be based on how far she is from the backdrop. Beautiful, Reagan. I love that. On your right arm, could you bend it a little bit away from you? Yes. It's giving me like Blade Runner vibes, actually. Beautiful. And from here, I could adjust it to say, let me get a little bit less of the bounce. And I just want to point out, I shoot with an assistant all the time, but I'm not shooting with an assistant right now. I'm making all of these adjustments. We're in this little world where I can shoot this and we're having fun. You don't have to work with tons of other people. Good, yeah, let's get that hand maybe yeah, perfect. That's great. Perfect. We shoot different angles here. I'm not going to overshoot this, but I really like what we have here. Let's get a little softer moment maybe. We could even like have you, Magnus, I'll have you help me. We could have you stand. Perfect. And let's adjust the height to go with it and also move the apple boxes. Perfect. Maybe a little higher. I want to get the bottom, and then also we'll have to raise the stand up. And if I was by myself, I would just do all this by myself, but yeah, not as much. Perfect. Good. And take a little step this way. Good. Could I give her one of those half boxes just in front of her feet? And Reagan, you don't have to use it. You can kick it forward a little bit. Kick it forward. But it just might be nice to put a foot on, so, you know, like, let's just see. Yes, that's great. Really nice. Good. Give me like a profile almost to this side, like you're looking that way. Beautiful. That's really nice. And then little friendly thought here. Happy thought in the face. Yeah, there it is, there it is. Yes, perfect. That's excellent. Good, we have a little portrait moment. I like that. Let's get on the stool. Let's give you an apple box. And I just want to see where else we could go. So, Reagan, just so you're aware, the outfit, yeah, raise it up a little higher. Perfect. And the backdrop can come back down. And the light too. Just want to see, like, it's a really nice shape that we've got. Good, yeah. So I'm thinking that we put the box on this side. Yeah, perfect. And then you turn your body that way. Yeah, 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 exactly. Give me something here. Maybe not both feet. Yeah, one leg. Perfect. Yeah. Maybe a little like, yeah, exactly. That's great. Maybe we can bring the left arm. There you go. I had to touch my own arm to define if it's the left arm. Bring that onto the back of the chair or onto your hip. Yeah, that's nice. Good. And we'll just soften it up from here. Like nice and soft. Maybe we can bring Patty. I think Patty's the hair and makeup artist. I don't think the hair in front would work, would it? Like bringing one side of the hair to the front. I think we've got this. Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Well, we can change.
It's great. To find the dynamism here.
Like that?
Yeah, it's nice. Nice. Perfect. I actually like that. Oh, I have an idea. If we have you stand and we cross the arms, what happens? Yeah, I wonder if we could just like do like a little, yeah, that's cool. And we go a little where that chair is. Magnus is going to take it out. Take the stool out. Yeah, that's good. And what I'm going to have you do is stand there. Perfect, like that.
Hold hands on the waist.
That's great. Perfect. Really sidey. And watch what happens as she moves back. I'm just going to have you do the same thing. But yeah, exactly. It's going to get more even on her face. Beautiful. That's great. I love this. This is such a great, nice little shape. Perfect. Yes, exactly. Off center. And then stand up against the backdrop almost completely. Nice. Really, I love that composition with the backdrop just like that. Lovely. One light. Good. And then I'm going to cheat. I'm going to have you just bring your chin towards the light. Yeah. Perfect. And then I'm going to cheat even more. And I'm going to shoot from this side. Perfect. And then I'm going to shoot from this side. Lovely. Good. Nice. So, Patty, you can have a seat if you like or stand there. It's fine. In terms of one light, I'm going to shoot a little bit more. We'll record that. But I'm just going to wrap up and tell you, please find another photographer or someone who's really willing to sit and have their picture taken. Take what you have. Take even, oh, should we? I have an idea. Let's shoot this really quickly with the ugly modifier that we used at the beginning. I would love to show you that. So we're just going to switch that around real quick. We'll take this off. Yes, perfect. That's a great idea. Because that's actually like a nice way to round it out. Because I want to show you that even with that, as long as you have your bounce set up, you're going to succeed in this setup. So to do that, I want to bring in the little bow. We have like a little element of the styling here. So we've changed over to maybe not calling it ugly. I use it, but our smaller, harsher modifier. And I'm going to, again, align the bottom with her eye height. I'm going to match the distance that we had. I'm going to check, is it bouncing into my bounce surface, wall, V-flat, shower curtain, whatever you have. And we've added this little bow just to give it a little bit of something. And I think the off-kilter, anytime yeah, exactly, works really well. So let's see how we can make this light. And again, I don't know if it's going to be overpowered. I don't know. I'm just going to, if it's too dark, I'll turn it up. It'll have a different feeling. Let's see. Oh, way too bright. Okay. So if it's too bright, I'm going to turn it down. And I'm going to press a button, turn it down, see what happens. Doesn't matter. Okay, it's still too bright. So I'm going to go again. I'm going to turn it down again. Doesn't matter how much I turn it down because you just keep turning it down until, there we go. That's like perfectly exposed. And it kind of has, it's definitely shot in the studio, but it has that certain quality of something because we're controlling our shadows by filling them in with our V-flat. I'm going to have Mike come in. You're on this side, perfect, and remove the V-flat for me, just to show how it looks if we don't have that. Thank you. And then, yeah, that's really a marked difference. And then let's bring it back in. So you can see here the difference between having the V-flat in, it's really flattering to her, the eyes really pop, versus not having it, it really becomes like a studio feeling. Good, perfect. So I really like that. And even with this small modifier, we can make something really interesting. I feel like with this one, we could almost even bring it in from above a little bit. And you can see with both eyes, right? This, the front of this. Yeah, perfect. Good, lovely. And again, I'm not going to teach you about the power of the pack because it doesn't matter. If it's too bright, I turn it down. If it's too dark, I turn it up. That's actually kind of like a really interesting shot. I almost like it more than with the larger modifier because it serves this outfit really, really well. Like it's kind of got this really, so I wouldn't normally do this, but because Reagan is a model and she does this professionally, I wouldn't necessarily, unless I'm really feeling confident, show the subject the image. But I want her to see, so we can see kind of where we can go with the posing and kind of like, you know, we're working together on this. Let's just see, so you can see, like also the shape of it, you know, where they're like, perfect. Exactly, that's great, yes. Perfect, and if you bring your chin up and towards that light a little bit, yeah, perfect. Really gonna, and then you can bring your chin down a little bit. Yes, there it is. Or I can help you also by raising the camera a little higher, and then it won't look like you're looking down. Perfect. That's kind of great. Chin down a bit more. You can bring your chin a little bit towards me. Yeah, there. Perfect. That's nice. Good. Maybe we could do some side angles without going too far to the side. Maybe, yeah, 45 degrees, something like that. Good. I like the visual element, the visual quality of that. Yes, perfect. That's great. I love that. Give me a little open on the mouth. Yeah, perfect. Yes, that's great. And then let's have some off-camera moments as well. Beautiful. That's great. Love that. And again, With this modifier, we don't actually have as much spread because it's much smaller and much more tight, so you can see that reflected on the background. But in this case, I think it really works for us by placing our model in that area. Come this way a little bit. Yeah. Not as much, split the difference. Perfect, thank you. That's excellent. Where the light is, and we still have control of our shadows. Okay, let's soften the face a little bit from there. Yeah, perfect. That's nice, Reagan. Excellent. Yes, good. All right, so that's my one light setup. I love the simplicity of this. It is the building block of so many of the rest of the setups that we're gonna do. This is the solid foundation. I really cannot stress enough, if there's one thing you take away from this class, if there's one thing you learn from me, is when you go in that exercise and do this in your studio, follow along with me as I make the changes. Put the video on your laptop, play, watch me set something up, approximate it in your studio with your modifier, try it out, shoot it. Shoot it, try different things, find a willing subject. For the love of all that is dear, do not use an impatient member of your family or pets for this. If you find another photographer, that's going to be the best way to try this out. It's immense fun. And follow along, pause, let me know the results that you're getting. This builds a foundation for you. You can build an entire career with just this setup.